way that law enforcement has of talking about Black Lives Matter or Rodney King or any other case of blue on black brutality, what you'll hear is black on black violence drowns out. This blue on black violence pales in comparison to black on black violence, right? You hear that over. I was down in at the police commission, and Charlie Beck said that over the summer. He said, how can a community expect others to respect them when they don't respect themselves? As a justification for, not being more aggressive, and why are you putting a spotlight on blue on black violence when there's so much black on black violence? And it always seemed to me a little disingenuous because police officers like you once were, right? The difference between you and everybody else up here on the stage and myself is you act, when you're an officer, under color of law, in the name of all of us. You take an oath of office. We give you a monopoly on legitimate violence and a badge in the form of a badge and a gun. And so you implicate us in everything you do. You do it on our behalf. None of that is true of any private citizen. None of it. And you see the price we pay when the police force, when police lose their moral credibility and legitimacy. It's a much graver social price we pay than when we're talking about private citizens and citizen-on-citizen violence, right? So we first need to make sure that it's understood clearly that blue lives matter, yes, but also black lives matter. No one's saying the blue lives don't, to say the black lives do. We fly the flag at half-mast every time we lose a blue light, as we should. But when a officer shoots an innocent black person, there's no flag at half-mast. We demonize them, we rake them across the coals, right? And we say things like, kind of he had it coming to him. We say, you're just an individual. Well, what Chief Beck was saying was after the Dallas shooting and the Baton Rouge shooting, LA could have had that response instead of a riot. It could have been officers shot, right? Those were the two responses. It went for the riot over the retaliation directly against officers. But when that was happening in Baton Rouge and Dallas, one of the things Beck and other police chiefs were saying was, when you shoot an officer, that's America. You're taking on, you're shooting, right? Well, then by the same token, when an innocent black person is shot by an officer like Philando Castile, when that officer is aiming that gun at him, as he's oozing life from his body, that's America aiming that gun at him. That's America beating the hell out of Sandra Bland. That's America shooting Walter Scott 4 or 5 times in the back, right? That's not just an individual. You can't be America when you're a victim, and then you're just an ordinary individual when you're a victimizer. But your perspective is so key to this whole. When we were talking at the reception, you were talking about where Daryl Gates was really coming from, where the chief of police were coming from in terms of his racial attitude. We have another chief of the sheriff's department who just got convicted. He's a felon now. Paul Tanaka, second in command, is a felon, and there are 20 other felons under him in the sheriff's department right now.
Let me have a little equal time here. If Zoe feels like he's a minority here, trust me, I really feel like
She's a she now. She has a sex change. There's no...
I am no Daryl Gates fan, believe me. And what Jody mentioned about the special privileges and the trust that you place in police officers every day, specifically in this city, is an awesome responsibility. And what I saw 25 years ago, and what I've seen every day since almost, is an abuse of that authority. Jody just went through a few names of people that have been killed. And in my opinion, they've been killed unjustifiably. Charlie Beck is the chief of police. I suspect that I'm the only police officer or retired police officer sitting in this group this evening. My views are very critical of law enforcement. I think we need to change law enforcement across America. There are a lot of Daryl Gates out there. There are a lot of Chief Becks out there. But when I look at the incidents in Ferguson, for example, and I stand on one side of the street, and when I look at the other side of the street, and I can no longer distinguish between law enforcement and the military, We have a far greater problem in this country than what we've seen this evening. We cannot allow, and when I say we, everybody sitting here, every single person sitting here, we can't allow this to continue. The officers that beat Rodney King, in my estimation, they're of the worst type of criminal. They committed those atrocities under color of authority. They abused the trust that you gave to them. You gave people like myself, and there are people out there like myself, who could speak out if they weren't afraid. But they are afraid. They're afraid of their careers. Like Tim. Tim had to move from one community to another because he was in fear of his life. I told a couple of the producers, Eric and 09, I said, I don't know how successful, I will know how successful this movie is because I'll be able to gauge it by the death threats that I receive for participating and my strong feelings.
Oh my goodness.
And that's not a joke. That's the honest to God's truth. Tim moved out of South Central Los Angeles, and I moved to Mexico. So they're going to have a long ways to come get me. But the sad thing about it is, I don't think we've learned anything in 25 years. Because instead of beating the people, we're now killing them. And it's what I called, we take an unjustifiable homicide by the police, and we create it to where it is justifiable. I've seen it at least a dozen times here in the city of Los Angeles. How dare we utilize deadly force against a lady that's got a 2-inch bladed knife? Come on, give me a break. I mean, we shoot a guy 9 times in the back. We shoot another person 5 times. It's ridiculous. But guess what? One person speaking out can't do much about it. Every single person in this room, you've got to speak out. You've got to hold account.